Hey everyone, here we are, day 21, I think it is, of the 30-day ideas challenge. So it's popped in my head, it's come through what I want to share with you today. I want to talk a little bit about deepening into self-love. And it's one of those things, I think sometimes, we don't necessarily have, I don't know, the best relationship with ourselves. And that's where it all begins, as we know. I think, when we're younger, we tend to, look outside ourselves to feel love. And it's only as we get older and we, grow and evolve, particularly on this spiritual path, we start to realize and remember that, the truth, of course, that, we are love, but that the more you go inwards and you start to give yourself more of that love and you feel that love, it's then that you're able to almost, become more of a magnetic match to love, outside of yourself as well. And for a long time, I didn't really kind of understand that concept. For a long time, as I said, I did go outside myself to feel that kind of, love or validation or affection or, whatever it might be. And as I said, it's interesting because, Louise Hay, when I crossed her, crossed the path of her and her teachings, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago or something, it was interesting because, she does the mirror work. And with the mirror work, it's very much where you're, just looking into the mirror and really just seeing yourself, your soul, and, just telling yourself how much you love yourself. And it's not easy. I remember the first few times I did it, it was really hard because especially when you're looking so close to the mirror and you start, almost pinpointing what's wrong and, you highlight this and that. And, and I know it's one of those things that it's a great practice to really kind of do, and whether you do it all the time or whether you do little, periods where you do it religiously, then you let it go. But I do think it's a good one to revisit. And there's also a book, and it was, is it Love Yourself or, like Your Life Depends on It or something like that. And I remember, it was a guy who, I think he was like a founder, a CEO of some, Silicon Valley, .com or something like that. Anyway, had it all like outwardly, but inwardly was not in a good place. And, it sort of came through intuitively to him to really, I think, just start basically just telling himself that he loved himself. And he did that, and he said, the first few days, nothing. He just kept repeating it. The more he did it, the more it became, and as we know, it becomes more of a habit, and then you get more of those well-grooved, neuronal pathways for loving yourself. And that's what he said. The more he did it, the more he started to feel uplifted and feel more inspired. And he'd go outwards and, more opportunities were attracted to him. So, it's like his total resonance, his total vibration shifted, and he became a match to, these opportunities and to, new friendships and new relationships, things like that. And it's interesting. So, a practice that I do sometimes, it's really just to, yes, the mirror work and yes, even just the affirmations and things like that. But as we know, if there's no feeling behind it, it's just kind of words. It doesn't have the depth. It doesn't have the substance. It doesn't have the body to it. So, you've really got to kind of feel it. And how sometimes it might just be even like looking at a beautiful flower or looking at your partner or looking at your child or your grandchild or, I know sometimes I look at my little fur baby and the love that I feel for her, it's like, oh, and it's like that vibration and energy of love is just so beautiful. And it's like if you can actually just start to, almost like even before you have a shower or when you get out of the shower, just really see yourself for all that you are and come from a place and look through the lens of love, because we are so harsh with ourselves. As we said, we're often our own harshest critic. So it's like really looking yourself and loving up at yourself and, like just appreciating every part of you because you are where you are today. And, your body, it's like, and most of us, do have our limbs and we do have, a beautifully functioning body. And yes, there's always things that, could potentially be improved, but it's like, having that love and gratitude. And, and as I said, this practice that I've been doing recently, it's like really just spending the time to go inwards and just sending that love and that gratitude to the organs. So it's like literally I'll just sit there and I'll focus, on the liver, and just send love and imagine smiling at the liver And it is a practice that they do practice. And I think I remember years ago I went to this retreat and, they had a yoga practitioner there, a yoga teacher. And I know she was leading us through this kind of guided meditation and really encouraging us to, smile at the organs. And it was a practice I did for a while, then I let it go for like 15 years. And more recently I've started kind of, doing it again. And it's just beautiful because it's just such a beautiful, loving energy just to send that love and gratitude to the organs. And as we know, everything is energy. And, when you kind of really realize that, it's like it's really powerful. And we know our words and our thoughts have power. I mean, I always use that example, but I mean, you have a fear thought, your body has that physiological response. You go into fight or flight. You might feel the palpitations and that adrenaline kind of sensation. So, it's like when you're thinking about that, if you're having the intention and the thought and you're sending the energy of love and gratitude, which are very high vibrations, when you look at that sort of consciousness scale, David Hawkins, it's pretty powerful. So I encourage you to try it. And that's all I literally do. It's like I just kind of, sit there and I just kind of, because, obviously with my background, I know sort of where the organs and everything are. And if you're not familiar, you can always just pull up on Google, just a little sort of chart of the body. So you know roughly where everything is. Oh, okay, yep, the liver's there and that right side under there. And, and here's where the kidneys are, here's where the adrenals are, or whatever it is. And it's just literally just focusing on that area, sending it love, sending it gratitude. And as I said, it's like a deepening into self-love practice because it's not just looking at yourself and saying, I love you in the mirror. And that's beautiful, but it's just taking it one step further. It's really going inwards. And the reason why I also like that going inwards is for most of us, we're always kind of, in our heads. We're thinking what we're going to do tomorrow, what we didn't do yesterday or whatever. And it's like the more that you can just be present, drop into the body and, really just be with the body and just give it energy and give it love. It's really, really powerful. So I encourage you to try that. Let me know how you go. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great weekend and a beautiful evening.